Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Proper Picks podcast. We are into the Best Bets edition. This week we will be recapping last week's plays and previewing this week's. We've got 4 college football winners for you this week with 3 NFL plays. It was a good week last week. I believe it was 5-5, up 3.01 units. I'm happy with it. Had a guy on Twitter hit me up and asked me why I was happy about only winning 3 units. I told him because I'm not a professional handicapper and I love doing it. I made some money, so I was happy. The sports handicapping world is so funny. If you don't make a million units and hit some monster ass parlay, apparently you're the worst handicapper in the world. I am all about betting steady. Trying to play to my strengths and, have fun while we're doing it. Obviously, it was in Auburn this past weekend for the game. That was a sad story in its own right. But, it was a nice Saturday for us. NFL, we went 2-0-1, pushed on the Bills game. We have fun doing it. Not a professional, never said I was. And I'm always going to enjoy when I make some money off of my plays. Big believer in not buying plays off these scammers off the internet. So, we enjoy it. And that's why we were happy we were up 3 units. So thank you to my broski on Twitter for calling me out. That was a fun combo. As we get into it, we will slide over to the recap from last week. All right, as we slide into the recap from last week, you'll see at the top here, we were 5-5-1 plus 3.01 units. Saturday, we go 3-5 minus 0.65 units. We had the full unit bet on the Kentucky +7 and Kentucky +10 on the money line for half a unit. We had a good opportunity here to get that Kentucky outright win. 2 turnovers in the red zone in the back end of the fourth quarter cost us there. I think watching that game, I felt good about the play because I was assuming that Kentucky had a good enough football team to win that game, and they just didn't come through at the end. Wake Forest +7 for a unit and Wake Forest +210 for half a unit. Same. It's funny how the slate was for college football this week for us. Same bet, dog and dog money line. And it got confirmed. Wake was the better team. We said it going in. Florida State being overhyped just due to the blue blood name. They started 4-0. They had a good win against LSU week 1. We know that. But it was just too many points. And Wake ends up winning 31-21 and was in complete control of that ball game the whole way. So that was a nice scoop up. A&M +4 for a unit and A&M +155 on the money line for half a unit. Just a whiff here. A&M, they disappointed their fan base for 5 weeks now, but they disappointed me on Saturday. That was ugly. It was a close game, early, and you felt like there was an opportunity that A&M was going to hang, keep it within that number for us, and maybe have a shot. But Mississippi State, Will Rogers just looked so good in the second half. You got to give Mississippi State a lot of credit there. They'll get Arkansas this weekend, which should be a good game in my opinion. Georgia -28. This one was interesting because it was also clinching our parlay, and I was inside Jordan-Hare Stadium watching the game. And, if you've been to those kind of games where there's 90,000 people, the internet kind of sucks in there. So I was just waiting on updates from anybody who heard a score. And I knew the start of the game was not going our favor, but I was just hoping, all right, Georgia will get rolling. They'll get rolling. And then they flashed up the screen in the third quarter. And I believe it was the third quarter of the Georgia game while we were at the Auburn game. It was 16-6 Missouri. And I just hung my head, just thinking, what the hell is Georgia doing? And then, as the updates kept coming, you felt it. Georgia was going to pull out the win there. They had to grind for it in the fourth, but it cost us a half unit on the parlay and a full unit on the spread bet. So 3-5 there for the day. Not good at all. No profit, but we were close to getting that big day lineup. In the NFL on Sunday, we went 2-0-1, a nice bounce back, plus 3.66 units. Kept it small. Bills -3 for a unit. Cardinals +1.5 for a unit. We went 1-0 there, 1-0-1 there. Bills end up winning by 3 late against the Ravens, and the Cardinals get the outright win. And we had a 3-game parlay: Arizona +1, Philly -275, and the Chargers -245. We laid this on Sunday and dropped it on Twitter as a card ad. Arizona got the win, obviously, and Philly, playing Jacksonville just seemed like, for a parlay type play, the money line was a decent ad there, and the Chargers were getting Houston. I felt bounce back from Chargers, and they played well. So Nice week overall. Like I said, 5-5 plus 3.01 units. We're going to always take profit and smile about it. That's 12 out of the last 16 weeks now for the Proper Pick squad in the profit. It's been consistent. As we slide in, we're going to look at the future bets we've laid and our all-time record. A little transparency here for everybody. So we'll slide over there now. Alrighty, so we're looking at the all-time record now. It has got to 521, 598, and 9. We're up 58.4 units as a whole. College football this year, we're 20-18-1 plus 11.9 units. And the NFL, we're 6-11-1 minus 4.4 units. Baseball is now heading into the playoffs. Don't know how much we'll be on. If we see something we like, obviously we'll take it. That's 105 and 86 for baseball for the year. And it's crazy. NBA preseason already lining up in college basketball right around the corner. So we're going to be able to have a little more action as we get going. Future bets that we have laid, we've been kind of talking about these all summer. And then now that we've gotten into the season, Bama plus 190 to win the Natty for 3 units. They're number 1 in the country right now. So we know we'll be there at the end most likely. I think they can suffer an L during the season and still have a shot at the playoffs. So I feel like that was a pretty safe play there right now. Auburn over 6.5 wins, probably the opposite, is not looking safe. 3-2, really needed that LSU win to give us an opportunity. They're going to need to pull some upsets, and I don't see that happening, to be honest. So that might be our first future L for this year. Kansas City 9-1 for the Super Bowl win. I like it right now. I mean, they have a murderer's row schedule. They play a lot of big ball games this year. So I think they'll be battle tested. I'm assuming they're going to win the division the way it started out. So we should have an opportunity to have a look there on that. Jags under 6 wins. They're 2-2. I think this one's going to come down to like the nitty gritty at the very end. I was thinking it wouldn't when we laid it. I put it at 4 wins. I think they're going to have 5 with a couple weeks left. They're just playing pretty good football compared to the last couple of years. The Steelers under 7.5 wins. They're 1-3 unless they bounce back in a major way. That looks like a pretty safe play there. Always want to throw this, all plays record up. You can track our stuff on Action app. If I've learned anything from some buddies that do this, you always got to celebrate the wins and, note the losses because anybody out there acting like they're always winning all the time is just not truthful. So we just give you the record so you can see where we're at, at all times. And now we will slide into the college football best bets. Alrighty, so we're into the college football best bets for week 6. We've got 4 games for you this week, 2 2-unit plays, 1 1-unit, and a half-unit little sprinkle as well. Up first, NC State -3. We bought this down from 3.5. Didn't really want the hook. They're messing with us if it comes down to it at the end of the game. We've got 2 units on it. And this has a lot to do about NC State, but it also has a lot to do about fading Florida State. I just think for whatever reason, it's almost a piggyback off last week. I think that the public and Vegas is overvaluing Florida State. I don't see NC State losing this ball game. A team that also returned so many off a good team last year who's really coming into form. They should be in a great bounce back spot from an L against Clemson. They're pretty much battle tested now. They played the best team in the conference, and now they're going to be, back at home, kind of chomping at the bit. They've got a solid defense. They held Clemson to 30, which I'm not saying is a hell, but Clemson can score 50 on a lot of teams. DJ Uiagalelei is really coming into form, and I think NC State proved that they can hang with the big boy. And I just don't think Florida State's the big boy. Take NC State -3. If you can get it at 3 without buying it, I couldn't find it. But we've got 2 units on that. We're going to slide down and take Utah on the road -3 as well. We bought this as well from 3.5 is where you see the juice laid there. We've got 2 units on it. And this is, it's kind of the same theme. I think UCLA is being overvalued. UCLA has one of the worst non-conference schedules in the country, not battle-tested at all. Utah has already had to go to Florida. They've been in big games already, and I just think you get Cam Rising against a defense that's very susceptible to giving up big plays. And I think this is Utah's chance, to be honest, to, put a resume win, if you want to call that, because UCLA is ranked. and the kind of name brand behind UCLA. But if Utah wants a shot at the playoff, they have to win out. They have to win the Pac-12 and then probably get a little lucky. So I don't think there's room for error there with them. This is a very experienced offensive line. Their D-line is strong, and I think they'll just win the battle of the trenches. I don't think UCLA has the horses on the D-line to kind of get to the quarterback at Rising. And Utah should be able to run the ball on this team as well. I think a little ground control here, maybe late with the clock could also benefit us as well. So let's take Utah -3 for 2 units. Arkansas plus 9.5 for a unit. This one was one that just stood out to me on Monday when I was looking at lines, and I just felt like right when I saw it, I said too high. I kind of noted it. I wanted to see what happened. It was at plus 8.5 when I said too high. So when it goes up to 9.5, I'm going to hop on it. It's not making my play of the week like NC State and Utah, but there's something about this game that reeks. I think Mississippi State, I don't think people are calculating how big of a win that was for Mississippi State against A&M last week. I know everyone knows now that A&M's a bunch of frauds, huge frauds, but I think that was a kind of a moral huge win for them. I see a little bit of a letdown spot. And then you have Arkansas, who just probably had their game of the year against Alabama. And if not the game of the year, one they were really hyped for. They were in it for, the better half of the second half, and then Bama pulls away. I think obviously Bama was the better team there, but Arkansas showed they can hang. And I just see a world where this might be fourth quarter, Arkansas with the lead. Mississippi State maybe drives down, gets a game-winning field goal or touchdown, something like that. I just don't see where Arkansas is going to lose by 2 scores here. My prediction for the game is Mississippi State 31, Arkansas 28. So we're going to put a unit on that. And then the last play for Saturday, we're going to take Oklahoma +7 at -105 on the line for half a unit. It's a small bet for me just because there's questions about Gabriel. I'm assuming that he's not playing, but it's just one of those things. This is a massive rivalry game. This game always is close. It seems to be the better team never wins. And if they do, it's always like in a comeback fashion. So I just see a world where this is a close ball game. Was thinking about getting it up to 7.5 and putting a little extra on it, but I just think we're safe there for the half unit at +7. We'll slide over to the NFL and check out Sundays. All right, so we're looking into the NFL Week 5 best bets here at the Proper Picks. Right out the gate, we're taking the Dolphins -3 for 2 units. Tua out. Most people would probably shy away here, but I'm riding Teddy Bridge. This dude has always been a little covering machine. And there's a lot that factors to me in the NFL. Jets coming off probably one of their biggest wins in the last decade for them. Maybe not decade, but last couple of years they beat the Steelers on the road. Zach Wilson back, looked pretty good, but the offense for the Steelers is so bad. And the Dolphins, even with Teddy Bridge, are going to be able to move the ball. You got Waddle and Hill on the outside, Gesicki in the slot. Tight end. But it's just one of those things to me where this is the perfect setup. Dolphins lose last week. Jets win. Now everybody's going to be saying, maybe the Jets are pretty good. No, they're not. It's still the Jets. And the Dolphins have the horses, in my opinion. We're going to take a -3 on the road for 2 units. I think the team from Miami will also be a little hyped up just because of all the talk about their coach and all the doctors. This just sets up to me. I see the Dolphins in like a 7 to 10 point win here. Commanders going back home after an L in Dallas. We're taking them for half a unit at +2.5. To me, this is just, it's a typical NFL. You got, 2 decent teams. They're neither one are terrible, neither one are great. They're just sitting there right in the middle. And I think this line's a little wrong. I had this more at a pick 'em, and we're going to get 2.5 points here. So I'm comfortable taking the Commanders. They stop the run well. We know that's what Tennessee does. Derrick Henry obviously is Derrick Henry, but the Commanders have a solid up front line and their linebacking core. And I just think they'll, if they don't hold them completely in check, I just don't think they're going to let him run wild. And if that means the ball's going to be put in Tannehill's hands to try and beat you, I love that for the Commanders. Also, don't think that the Titans' defensive line is going to get to Wentz as much as what you saw from the Cowboys last week, because that Cowboys pass rush had Wentz uncomfortable the whole ball game. I just think you'll see a little more time for Wentz in the pocket. And I like the Commanders to win here. Wasn't wanting to throw the money line out there. I was close. But we're going to take Commanders +2.5 for half a unit. And then moving into our third and final game for Sunday, Eagles, Cards over 49 for a half unit. I like this one for a lot of reasons. I just think the Eagles' offense has been steady all year. I think we know we can get 24 to 34 range out of them, but I think the Cards has been the question mark. And I just think Kyler plays a lot better in his own building. I think the Eagles traveling, this is probably their biggest road game for the year so far. And I just think it's going to be one of those shootout type environments. This might even be one of those games where you might be a little worried at half and then you just see sparks start flying. For me, it would be awesome for the bet if we could get the Cards down early. Notoriously, the Cards get off to bad starts and then they have to start, Cliff Kingsbury starts just firing rockets away. You're going to see a lot of Kyler scrambling around third and fourth quarter trying to make plays, maybe some 2-point conversions trying to get back in it. But we're going to take the Eagles and Cards over 49 for a half unit. And that's the picks for this week. Like I said, 4 in college, 3 in the pros. We've got a teaser and 1, maybe 2 small parlays being cooked up right now. We'll release those on Twitter as the weekend nears. It's probably just going to end up being 1 parlay in the teaser. But yeah, make sure to follow me at the Proper Picks Pod on Twitter. If you've got any games that you're looking at that we aren't talking about, would love to see them. Always down to make some money. Sharing some shekels around with everybody. Hope everybody has a great week, and we'll be back next.